Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Smart Family Living on Idea TV. I am Miracle Obi. This is the show where we discuss reality of modern family life, how technology is shaping the way we live, the way we love and raise our children. And today we are tackling a hot topic that every parent, every teacher, and even child needs to hear, and that is the screen time. Now, is it too much? Is that too much screen time? Is too much screen time really harmful? Are turning our children into zombies? Or are they actually powerful learning tools we are underestimating? Well, parents, grab your tea. Kids, put down the tablets for just a moment. This conversation is about to get interesting. And before we dive, because right now I just feel like I need to dive down into the discussion for today, but then we have our Do You Know Tech highlights for the week. So on Do You Know, we have something really fascinating. The first is the digital pacifier. Now, the effect is that, do you know that many parents now use smartphones the way our grandparents use rattles to calm crying babies? That's when I say sad or funny, but then that is something that is happening. Now, studies have shown that toddlers handed devices to stop tantrums may struggle later with self-soothing. So parents worldwide admit screen time save their children from less stress. Well, we don't know about that. But then in the US alone, 65% of parents says they hand devices to their children just to get some peace. So it's becoming a pacifier. So right now, tablets are the new nannies, cheaper than daycare, but riskier for development. Our second Do You Know is the rise of baby influencers. You are on social media, you've seen a lot happening. Now, believe it or not, children under 10 years old are among the fastest growing YouTubers and TikTok stars. You want to be a witness to that. Now, some make millions before they can even spell the word subscribe. Now, the question is, should kids be walking on the camera or building sand castle? Because back then we were building sand castles. So I don't know why children are now becoming social media or YouTube influencers right now. But then that is something you need to know. And the third on Do You Know? So do you know about the blue light versus the red light? Trick for the parts. Yes, the blue light from screen tells your brain stay awake, while the red or orange light whispers it's time to sleep. Yes, and that's why night mode on your phone turns the screen yellowish. It's not ugly, brothers and sisters. It's not ugly. It's just sleep friendly. So when you see the orange light, don't feel it is ugly. It's just trying to tell your brain it's time to shut down. It's time to sleep. And the final on our Do You Know segment is Japan's digital curfew. Yes, in some Japanese cities, kids' smartphone automatically shuts down by 9 p.m. Parents cannot override this one. It is a government-backed move to protect sleep and reduce midnight gaming. So now imagine Nigerian teens facing that. God, there will be drama everywhere. Like once it's 9 p.m., there is nothing you can do about it. Your phone would just your phone would just shut down. I feel Nigeria should implement this, but then for the children, because some of us we use our phones for business and the rest, and we don't want our shops, our online shops, to close down by 9. But with our discussions today, you would really know why some of these things are being inculcated in policies in other countries. So we'll be going on a very short break, and when we return, we will dive into our discussion segment where we would face the dilemma of screen time for children. Let's know what screen is doing. Is it doing good? Is it doing harm? Or both? you want to know what it's doing to your child or your children in the future. So stay with us. We'll be right back after the short break.
Industry cloud platforms. Industry cloud platforms offer tailored solutions for specific industries such as healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. These platforms provide specialized tools to meet regulatory compliance requirements while boosting operational efficiency. For example, healthcare cloud platforms streamline patient data management and support care coordination. However, the challenge lies in ensuring data security and interoperability between platforms. The market for industry cloud platforms is expected to reach $83 billion by 2025.
All right, this is the Smart Family Living with Miracle Obi, and I'm glad you're still with us. Thank you for staying true. And I know you're also very curious, the way I've always been. This topic made me, I had to really research. We need to know what the screen is doing to our children. And I have an amazing guest with me. Joining me today is Mr. Samuel Eneche James, who is a passionate and experienced educator with over a decade of experience working with children. Yes. Now, through his initiative, Uncle Sam, popularly known Sam's Science Hub, Samuel has mentored over 50 students, equipping them with knowledge and science and essential life skills. He has also supported over 15 families directly with a strong background in working with children with ADHD and other special needs. Now, drawing his inspiration from thought leaders such as the Windy Ology of the International Parent and through seminars with Mr. Johnson Abaje, I think we've had him on the show, Samuel has developed a strong interest in the impact of early screen exposure on children's attention span. And guess what? His mission is to empower parents and educators with practical strategies to nurture well-rounded children in today's digital age. And that's why we have Mr. Samuel in the studio. You're welcome, Mr. Sam. Or should I say Uncle Sam? As your students will always, okay, so you can relate better with Uncle Sam. Okay, welcome, Uncle Sam.
Thank you very much.
It's really nice
having
you.
It's an honor to be here. I've been looking forward to it since the invite, and I'm so happy to finally be on the show, so it's my honor.
I'm blushing. Thank you very much, Sam, for being on the show.
Miracle.
We've seen a whole lot about you and your passion, how that's, it's so rare to have people who are just passionate about kids. You just want to ensure that every child is brought up the right way when you are not their parent.
That's
I don't
very
understand.
True. I think the passion came from, I've always been working with children.
Okay.
Although I'm the last child of my parents, but I grew up with an extended family with my grandparents, so there were a lot of nephews, cousins, and people who were much younger than me.
So I can still call you outer, right?
Exactly, kind of. So I have three wonderful cousins who see me as their big brother, big uncle.
Okay.
I walk around with that. Finished secondary school immediately. Was retained by the secondary school I finished to start teaching immediately.
Wow.
And you mentioned the previous speaker you had in your program.
Yes, Mr.
Johnson Obanje. He's a big motivator to me, big motivation, and also like a mentor also to me.
Oh, amazing.
So working along with him also spurred their passion in me for children and everything around teaching.
Children can really be crazy.
Yes, they
I
can.
shouldn't use the word crazy, but children can at times be annoying. I rephrase that word.
Yes.
Children can at times be annoying. Like,
Yes.
how do you cope? Like having like 10 kids can probably run someone mental.
I've had more than 10 kids at a time to teach at a time. I've had children who have different kind of learning spectrum. I've had children with different learning abilities. I've had children with that are very hyperactive.
Oh wow!
Very hyperactive. I've had situations whereby I've thought trying to teach a child will spat on my face. I've had situations where a child will flash water on your face. Everything.
Wow!
But the beautiful thing is just that we do it with love.
Oh wow!
And there is joy in spite of it all. There's joy that is the motivation.
Okay, that's good. Amazing. All right, so Uncle Sam, let's settle this once and for all. Are screen the big bagged wolf we've been told to fear? Or are parents just overreacting? Because this screen time something, I know several times on the Smart Family Living, we've had an episode where we discussed on AI parenting and, you know, screen time. But this time around, we are like, okay, we want to face screen time head on. Let's know what the screen time is really doing to our kids. We've read information on WHO, World Health Organization, what they've said about screen time. And then also I'm going to be reading something very brief. We've seen also in recent news that Japan has 2 hours limit on smartphone usage. Now, somewhere in Japan City has proposed to cap smartphone usage to reduce screen addiction. The city of Toyokia in Achai recently implemented a non-binding ordinance that encourages residents to limit recreational smartphone usage within 2 hours a day, starting from October 1st, 2025. This is something a part of Japan is really doing, a city rather, in Japan is actually doing, reducing screen time to just 2 hours every day. So once you have used the screen for more than 2 hours, probably your phone will just shut out. This is massive. And then this measure is intended to address health issues linked to excessive screen time, such as sleep problems, mental health challenges, and it does not really include any penalty for non-compliance, but I'm sure they would do something like that. I would also give you another update from France. Now, France Commission urges bans on social media for children under 15. Now, French children under 15 are banned from social media, and there should be an overnight digital curfew for 15 to 18-year-old. A parliamentary commission has recommended this. Now, we have seen what is happening in Japan, and we've seen what is happening. Before we take the third and the fourth, what do you have to say about that? Because we really want to tackle screen time. We want to know, let's just be very real. At times I tell Uncle Johnson, let's be very real and plain. Just say it as it is. Spill the beans. Let's just be very real. What is screen time really doing to our kids? I've read 2 stories about Japan and the other country. What do you think screen time is actually doing to children?
Yes, so let's face it headlong.
Thank you. I like that word.
The truth is that if we try to put it in a balance stream, whereby you try to outweigh the benefits, the pros and the cons, I think the long-term effect of screen time is more detrimental to whatever comfort or convenience as a parent that you take, that giving screen to your children, the convenience of what you want to do at that medium time. Maybe you need to attend to work, and as a result of that, you want to distract your child by giving them a screen so that they can be engaged with that.
Many of us are very guilty of
exactly. If you look at the long-term effect, is it actually just good for you or good for the child?
Oh, that's a big question.
I said that's a big question that we should need to think about. What you think you're doing, are you doing it because of the child or because of your convenience? Because if you're truly interested in the child, as will be going on in the discourse of today, you will see that the detrimental effect is far much more than the immediate gratification that you will have in the moment. But when you look into it in the long run, what will be the detriment of it? What will be the effect that you have to the cognitive ability of the child, to the social skills of the child? So all of these things are things that I think these world countries have looked into, and is the reason why they've come up with measures like this.
Okay, that's really amazing. We know that there are several myths about children and screen time. Can you just tell us some of the myths you know about children and screen time? Yeah,
so some of the things I'll be saying here are not just opinions. That's one of the things I'll start with. They are not opinions. These are facts that have been checked, and it has been proven to work. The first myth I would say is that people believe that screen time do not have long-term effects.
Oh, okay.
that screen time do not have long-term effects. And this is one thing that parents don't know about. Maybe when you give your child the screen for maybe a short moment of time, you don't look into the far more consequence at the later on. So I'm just going to hold on to explain to that, not for now. Then the second one again is that, this one is quite controversial.
Okay, I like controversial ones.
It's quite controversial, but there is also a myth whereby people believe that zero use of screen is equivalent to high social skills.
Oh,
Zero
wow.
use of screen. Like, people believe that if a child does not have access to the screen, especially in the early years, it means that automatically that child will have a better social skill compared to a child who was exposed to screen time. So that's not actually true.
Oh,
The reason why I think that's not actually true is because we could have temperament issues.
yeah.
We could have temperament differences. There could be people who, even though they were not exposed to the screen, but yet they are quite reservative and they do not have these natural social skills. So that's also something that I think that we can debate. And then finally, one thing again that I think is a myth is that people believe that irrespective of the duration, that duration doesn't really matter. What matters is that let the child just have access to it while I face on the other things. But as we have seen already, even from the facts that you have read of the sleeping disorders,
Yes.
so you see, there's a lot that we will talk about in the discussion. So the duration matters, the content they watch, they matter, the context in which it is given, it also matters, and also what it is feeding to them, it also matters. So I think all of these things are some kind of illusions that we used to have. But right now, maybe during the course of our discourse, we'll be able to find a level ground on how to balance the truth from the facts.
Amazing. Okay, so we've heard that, just like you have said, we're looking at the context
Yes,
and the convenience
content.
and all of that, the content. But then we know of what WHO has said about children, screen time for children. But then, because of our amazing viewers out there, would want you to really let us know what age can you expose a child to the screen and why.
Okay. Once again, to put a caveat to it, this is not my opinion. This is a regulated body who have vetted this, and they've come out with this.
Are you putting
So
a
they
disclaimer
put
on
a
that?
caveat there. So this is not my opinion. This is from the work of thorough research from professionals. So we're speaking with what you say, the WHO, the World Health Organization,
Yes.
and also the AAP, which is the
Okay.
American Association of Pediatrics.
Okay.
So all of this, we're going to look into it. Now, according to the AAP, the American Pediatric Association, they recommend that children between the ages of 0 to 18 months do not have any business with the screen.
In other words, children
between
1 year, 6 months.
Exactly. Children
We
from
can relate
0
better.
to 1.5 years do not
Yes.
have any business with the screen. And now, I think this was something I was supposed to mention during the myth, is that except for situation like FaceTime,
Okay.
video calls.
Okay.
So the reason why that exception comes in is because now the WHO did not put the exception, but
You are
AAP,
putting-
no
okay,
AAP,
okay.
the American
Let's be sure.
American Pediatrics brought that exception, and the reason why they brought the exception for FaceTime or video calling is because there's something that video calling that it brings reciprocity.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things is that when, let's take for example, there could be a situation could arise. Maybe you're outside of the country or somewhere in a different city, and your young toddler is at home or your little baby, and with a caregiver. So you need to have maybe a FaceTime.
Yeah.
Even if the child will not converse with you, just
But
like
you can
hello
see
and
how
everything.
you-
So
yes.
FaceTime, that's the exception. And then children between the ages of, let's say, under 2 years, from
Okay.
2 to 5 years, it is recommended that they should have at least 1 hour of controlled 1 hour of controlled screen time.
I'm not the only one reacting. I think other people in the studio are actually still reacting to this. Like
Emphasis.
from 2 to 5.
Exactly.
1 hour.
Exactly.
Okay.
Emphasis on the controlled.
Okay.
Emphasis on the controlled, because I used a word earlier. I said that it's not all about the duration, but about the content. Because why I use the word controlled and I'm placing emphasis on controlled is because you can do much damage in 1 hour if the child should consume the wrong content than you can do even if a child should spend long time but maybe educational content.
I see wisdom in that.
Exactly. So it's not just about the duration but the content. So is it just that what even if the child should spend, let's say 20 minutes, assuming, and what that child is consuming is something that is abusive, something that there's a lot of violence, within that short time, there could still be a lot of damage. So emphasis on the controlled, and then children within the ages of maybe 6 years and above, 6 years and above should also have controlled maximum 2 hours with the exception of educational resource materials.
Exception of educational resource materials.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to bring you back to what you've said. From children from 0 to 18 months should have no business
with a screen.
With a screen. So now, can you give us reason why children from 0 to 18 months should have no business, like with the exception of FaceTime and all? Yes. Exactly. So can you give us why such rule is in place? Why should children from 0 to 18 months shouldn't have business with FaceTime or screen time?
By the way, the rule was not meant to punish, but rather to encourage and to...
It sounds like punishment. I'm standing as a parent too.
Yes,
I
understand that.
Like a punishment.
I understand that from experience. The rule is meant to, in order to raise healthy adults tomorrow. So that's the essence of the rule. So let's put that known, that whatever we're saying, that the goal is so that we can raise healthy children in the future. So the first reason is because children within this age range of 0 to 18 months, this is usually the time whereby that they are just trying to build their cognitive skills, their cognitive abilities. They learn very well more from interaction with a human, a caregiver. They learn more from interaction. And the truth is that you can't learn social skills from the screen. No robot, no screen, no pre-recorded video can teach you social skills from the screen. While we're having this discussion right now, I can read your facial cues. It's easier for me to tell when I should move on, when I should hold on.
Yes.
I will just cast our mind back. Let's imagine most of us, when we were children, our parents don't have to speak words to us before they communicate to us.
Your eyes. There are certain
eyes, so it does not just. At that point, you understand that communication is beyond words.
Yes.
And how do we learn that? We didn't go to sign language school. It was not like we went to any tutorial organization that put us through that you should understand when someone do like this, it means get out, a visitor is here. There was no any institution that gave us those manuals. But how did we learn it?
How did we actually learn it? Probably there are times where visitors came in and probably gives you money because they always do that most times, and then probably my mom is like, oh, uncle is giving you something. Why not accept it? Uncle is saying, this is what mom is saying. But then you're reading another meaning from her other eyes. Like, if you collect that money, oh God. If you take that money, what will happen to you by the time uncle leaves? So how did we learn that? Would you say that probably we were not exposed? Okay, was I exposed?
Not probably. The truth is that anybody who is within the age range of, let's say, 25 and above right now, that's anybody. If I'm saying 25 and above, I'm talking about anybody who was born within maybe 99 and beyond, 99, 98. So 25 means the person was born 2000.
Yes.
So I don't think any child who is 25 now at any time during their toddler age had an iPad.
Oh,
at
really?
that age.
I think some.
Exactly. If they should, then the exception will be very minimal.
Yes.
So usually the access to the screen that children of that age usually had was that it was either a conventional TV in the parlor.
Yes, where at times you just have to
and even at that too, there are times that when there's some content begin to come by yourself, you just try to look for plates that are not dirty you want to go and wash. Your body have to tell you before you excuse yourself from the room.
Exactly, yes.
So what I'm trying to say is that children within those ages, this is when all this cognitive development happened within those early age, those early years of 0 to 18 months. There are things that we learn from that age, but you didn't know that you learned them until you come into adulthood and you see yourself manifesting them. Things like ability to reach facial cues, see it's for you to be able to empathy, that you can be able to have feelings when you see someone. Sometimes the parent or the caregiver may not be necessarily injured, but they'll just act as if they're injured. And you could see a little child be like, oh, they'll be all heartbroken. But when you give a child who is glued to the screen, you break your leg in front of that child. The child is not even looking at you because the child is just swiping. So number one is that cognitive development needs to be developed during this early years of 0 to 18 months. Okay. This is a time whereby a child is supposed to learn social skills and social interaction. This is a time whereby at least the child is supposed to get basic level of empathy that will be able to relate with human feelings. And also sleep disorders. I don't want to go ahead of myself, but there's something called digital cocaine. Okay. So I'm going to just keep it at that level now. Maybe in the course of discussion we'll mention that.
I really want to know about that. But then, as much as I've seen a lot of wisdom in in what you have said, not certain in what you have said, there's just a whole lot of wisdom, there. But there are times where you somehow expose your child to the screen below 18 months.
Definitely.
Would you say that would have a long-term impact on that child? I'm not saying an everyday thing.
Yes.
Okay, let's be very real.
That's very true.
As a parent or as a mother or a father, and you seem to be, let me not use the word busy, because according to Uncle Johnson the last time, he said you would always find time for what you value. So I wouldn't want to use the word busy.
That's very
but then there are times where there are things you want to teach your child, and then these things are on the screen. You want to teach your child alphabets, and then it's always easier because you have the song playing and all of that, and you know that children learn faster with music, with sounds, pictures, and all of that. So how do you now know the essence of putting a screen on the face of a child, or my child, for example, is because I want that child to learn the song ABC, and you see all the whole dancing alphabet and all of those things, so they're able to recall faster because of what they have seen. So would you say that short time of giving this child tablet or whatever screen, my phone or whatever, to watch and learn ABC is actually going to affect my child in the long term? Now note that the child will learn.
Okay.
Now I'm going to use a real life example. Now, I have a child who is not up to the 18 months you just mentioned, but then would be able to sing A to Z, and would be able to count 1 to 12.
Excellent.
And there are other things this child can do. And all of these things, because right now, somehow, as much as we shouldn't feel guilty, but then there is a little bit of guilt now falling into my heart. Now, would you say that this process of teaching this child these things and the child has learned, because I can see an advantage to the screen time, would you want to tell us that the disadvantage would override the advantage in the long term?
All right. In as much as I wouldn't want to make a rule of thumb to say that one rule fixes everything, that is very rigid and it's not flexible, I think what we will look into again, as I said earlier, is the long-term benefit or the long-term detriment. These same songs of these same alphabets that are taught to this child at this early age, can it also be learned by a physical human? Can they learn it from a physical human?
Yes, they can, but somehow we just feel it's more interesting if the child is watching. You see the dancing alphabet, you see the colorful alphabet and all of that. It doesn't mean that at every point where you want to teach that child, you have to bring the screen. But there are times where the child needs to just interact and learn. Then subsequent time, I feel, this is my personal opinion, by the way. So subsequent times, I feel you can now do the verbal A, B, C, Ds for the child to learn, and the 1, 2, 3 for the child to learn.
Definitely.
But I personally feel that that image of the dancing alphabet and all of that would always stick to the child's memory, except you want to make me wrong.
All right. This is not a platform for me to try to market anything, but from what we do at from while you were reading my bio, working with the network of exceptional tutors, what we do, I've seen children, early years children, being taught how to read, how to identify alphabets without the use of screen, all because they had an excellent early years instructor. So this is what the idea of what we're trying to do is not that we're trying to demonize the use of screen, but the idea is that if we look into it in the long run, we don't want to have educated people or learned people who do not have human emotions. So if what you're doing in your own situation right now, I believe what you're trying to promote now is that you create a controlled environment, one. So if you create a controlled environment, that's one. And then number two is that there is co-viewing. When I say co-viewing, that means you are not just leaving the child unattended to watch it alone. Yes. So maybe when the alphabet A comes on the screen, and then you will say, "What is that?" And the child try to mimic you, whatever. Yes. And so, in this situation, you are not using the screen as the sole instructor. Okay. Now, basically, this is supposed to be for children within 2 years and above. Basically, this learning style is supposed to be for children within 2 years and above. So for 2 years and above, this is when you're supposed to use screen as a co-viewing, whereby there is a physical instructor, and the instructor uses only the screen, not as a sole instructor, but you are using the screen just as a lesson material, as a teaching aid. So while the child is seeing the alphabet, you are interpreting the alphabets to the child. So the child is not only learning from the screen, but the child is learning from a physical human also.
So in other words, I'm trying to say that this type of teaching should not be done to a child who is less than 18
months. I still hold on to that.
Amazing.
I still hold on to that.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question, and this is to help people out there who right now you are worried, like, has the damage been done? That means nothing can be done. It means that I have negatively affected my child in the long run. And so would you say that parents right now who have indulged their children, who are less than 18 months, they've indulged these children to screen time. Is there like a solution, or is it a permanent damage?
No. I don't think there's anything. There's no.
Because I know there are people watching right now. They are feeling okay. So what will happen to my child? Like, I have exposed my child to the screen. So what do I do right now?
Even in situations of addictions, which are very strong addictions, maybe when we have not in this age range though, maybe in a higher age range, we still have lots of therapies to be able to curtail and to bring them out of that situation. So I don't think the damage has been done that it cannot be undone. So there is one of the first way I would suggest is that, number one, you try to limit the screen time. If you limit the screen time, then you can't just limit just like that, but what will you replace it with? So there should be a replacement strategy. If I'm taking away this, what will I use to replace it with? Because if you don't replace it, then there will be withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawal symptoms whereby we will look later issues like tantrums, throwing of tantrums. Children can become agitated, and then I've seen worst case scenario whereby you see children literally smashing the television screen in the house and everything. So there could be worst case scenario. So number one is that there should be replacement strategy. So find what are innovative ways you can engage your child in the absence of screen. So number one, outdoor activities. Go on outdoor activities. Take a walk whereby you and the child can interact on things. Go to the museum. Let there be human connection. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Whereby you can take the child to an event or a social gathering whereby there are other children of that age range so that they can be able to tolerate each other, to learn social skills from other children within that peer group. So another strategy you can also use in addition to all this again is that you can find ways of curbing the boredom. Most times we think that boredom is something that is bad.
Yeah, I recently read about boredom,
Yes.
the good side of
Boredom
being
is not
bored.
actually bad. Exactly.
The man actually said,
Exactly.
be bored.
Exactly. So the truth is that maybe we as parents and educators sometimes are guilty such that we want to curb the boredom of these children at any time, every child. The moment your child is bored and you see them trying to get sensitive and irritable, everything, you just want to curb the boredom and say, oh, watch Peppa. I don't want to call any program name, but watch a particular XYZ
Yes.
and everything. Boredom actually stems creativity.
Yeah.
You could be bored just now, and then the next thing you think, okay, maybe you can build castles out of rocks. And then this child, maybe you can just pull up something out, and then you see the child whereby we've seen the worst kid. I don't want to use this example, but we've seen children who will lose an electrical device. They will detach it, break it apart, and then couple it together again, and it actually works.
Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah, you could see a child whereby they could try to unlock and then unbuckle so many things. So boredom actually stirs creativity. That's the point I'm trying to make. So it's okay to be bored. It's okay for the child to be bored. Sometimes what we try to do again is that when the child comes all throwing tantrum and they want to ask for this
You don't want your child to cry.
You don't want your child. It's okay.
There are times I just thought it's good
It's
to
okay
cry.
to
It's okay to cry.
Crying does
You
okay.
won't kill you.
It's okay to cry.
It won't kill you.
can hug the child, create that bond between you and the child. Hug the child. And then another thing again, which I would say is very important, is
Yeah.
that we should create routines.
Okay.
Don't just cut it out of the schedule of the child just like that. Nope. It doesn't work that way. Create a routine whereby you give the child an opportunity to be able to draft a timetable along with you.
At what age are you advising that parents
This
can
should
do
be,
this?
you can do this for children within the age range of 2 to 5 and 6 and above.
Okay.
At this time, these are where you can have children, they can throw heavy tantrums because maybe as a result of the 0 to 18, the damage has already
I'm
been
going
done.
to have an episode where we'll talk about the terrible twos and the terrific threes.
Okay.
And right now, I'm already having ideas on Idea TV on what to do, like the tantrums, because I feel like I'm experiencing something like that. But
Yes.
and he has a way of making one maybe run mad, but
Okay.
we'll look into that.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the point I'm making is not for children within 0 to 18.
Yes,
This
so from
point of
2.
whereby the child can also actively participate
Yeah.
in drawing the schedule. This is for maybe older toddlers, maybe from 2 to 5 and 6 and above. When you give the child an opportunity to be able to design their screen time schedule by themselves, it gives them a sense of responsibility and whereby they feel that autonomous feeling that, oh, I actually participated in this. So let's take, for example, I have a child of maybe 3 or 4, 5 years old, and then I'll be like, according to the structured timetable that we have, you are to use your screen, maybe watch Spider-Man, watch anything for just 1 hour. And then when I set it at 1 hour, you know the time you're supposed to start, you know the time you're supposed to end.
Yeah.
The moment the child begins to watch, when it is maybe 10 minutes to the time, there's an alarm that comes up.
Oh.
10 minutes to, let's say, screen curfew. 10 minutes to screen curfew.
Oh, yeah.
So when the child sees that, the child begins to anticipate. There's a kind of emotional preparation towards it already. So 5 minutes to screen curfew. And I'm also getting the notification. Maybe I could be outside. I could be in the kitchen doing something. And then the moment it is time, the alarm begins to beep. My alarm is ringing. The child's iPad is also ringing. And then I come. So I come to the child and I give Let's say the name of the child is Jaden. I say, Jaden, so what do you think? Will you want me to collect it myself, or will you want to go and drop it yourself? So it gives the child a sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it was not mommy that just snatched this from my hand. I and mommy drew this timetable together, and I knew that the time is up to submit this. So the
Yes.
child by themselves, maybe the first maybe the first early time you start it, there will be a
Yeah.
lot of friction
Struggle.
and everything. But as time goes on, with being consistent, with you keeping to the routine and not going back because of maybe emotional blackmail from the tears of your child, I'm telling you, you can build on that habit.
Oh, wow.
And whatever the damage, it can be undone.
Wow.
Yes.
So, according to what you've said, parents should take their children out.
There should be
you
lot of
know,
social
lot
outdoor
of social-
activities.
yeah, and then all of that. But for parents who are there any particular signs to watch out for when to know that, okay, your child is experiencing the Down syndromes of over screen time?
Yes,
Are
over
there,
screen.
are there symptoms, things to watch out for?
Yes, there are. I will mention that one of the first symptoms is hyperactivity. Hyperactivity.
But you know there are children that are naturally hyperactive.
Yes, there are children who are naturally hyperactive, but there is a kind of hyperactivity that you see in a child that you know that this child didn't learn it from me, he didn't learn it from the father. Where did you learn it from the screen? So let's say, take for example, I've seen short skits of videos where you see a child literally hanging on maybe on the fridge and trying to throw web out of their hand. there's no there's no way they learned that you can throw web out of your hand like that.
Yes, has to be
So,
on the screen.
and then definitely they believe that some of the superpowers they see in movies are actually real. And then until when the child now assumes that he has actually thrown the web, and then he thinks he can follow the web to jump from the fridge.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately there's a fracture or there is
Yeah.
an injury. So there is a kind of hyperactivity that can come in as a result of excess use of screen. The second one is that I mentioned earlier when we were talking about when we started, was that there could be issue of low memory retention.
Okay.
Low memory retention. There's a study by an article which was also published by the American pediatricians in 2019. They actually, out of sampling 47 children, they found out that children who had excess use of the screen had low level of white matter integrity in their brain. Now, the white matter integrity of the brain is what is responsible for cognitive ability, for memory retention, for literacy and speech. So children who had excessive use of screen that violated the World Health Organization recommended rules had low level of white matter integrity. So meaning that the part of their brain which is supposed to be responsible for cognitive development was underdeveloped because of excessive use of the screen. We could also have situation of eating disorders. Either it could be maybe anorexia, where anorexia is such a situation whereby you have the child under eating because they are glued to the screen. We could have issues of overeating because the child is glued to the screen, so they don't not get the signal from their body when they are full already.
Yes.
So eating with one hand, swiping with the other hand. So it's just a mindless activity of eating. So it takes away the perception that you're supposed to have to savor the moment while eating, for you to be able to just feel the taste of the food, just to enjoy it. But so there is eating disorders. The moment you begin to notice eating disorders, low memory retention, hyperactivity, and also sleeping disorders. The hormone which is responsible for sleep, as you mentioned earlier from the first do you know you started, which you spoke about the blue light and the red light, is actually a hormone called melatonin. So this hormone is activated by the blue light. So when the blue light from the screen is reflecting through the eye, then the hormone it will just remain. So someone can be feeling sleepy, but the person will still be awake. I don't know if you've noticed a situation, but I have with my nephew, with my cousins. A child can be sleeping and still be making gestures of swiping. Literally, I have. I've literally seen it. Literally.
Wow.
The child will be sleeping and still be swiping.
Wow. Okay, I haven't seen that.
I literally have seen that. So these are situations because of the last memory they had. So usually, I don't want to go ahead of my time, but usually it's not advisable that children should be given screen, maybe even the older children, maybe an hour to sleep to bedtime. So when we have having sleeping disorders, eating disorders, hyperactivity, low memory retention, then these are signs that there's actually something going on.
Okay, so before we go to the next segment, you mentioned the screen vampire, right?
I call it digital cocaine.
Okay, where did vampire come from?
Digital cocaine.
Okay, but I know it
Yes.
was something abstract. Yeah, so we'd want to hear about that before we move to the next segment.
All right, the concept of digital cocaine was first used by the Chinese. We know what the cocaine does.
Yeah.
Normally, the cocaine is a stimulant, and as a stimulant, what it does is that it promotes the release of dopamine,
Okay.
whereby you could have just that instant high for a moment. That moment of just you lose touch of your environment, and the only reality you see right now is the reality that the drug presents to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I should try to relate that, there is also another reality, even in this age, that we call it virtual reality. So virtual reality is a reality, but it's not a reality that you can teach, you can touch, or you can make contact with. It is ethereal. It is something that exists, but it does not exist yet. It's only existing in your head. And it is based on what you can see.
Yeah.
So just in the same way that the drug can make you to lose touch of your reality and be lost in another world which the drug presents to you, in the same way also, this digital cocaine also serves a similar function, whereby people or children, anybody who is addicted to the screen, can lose touch of the reality they exist in and then get lost in the digital reality in such a way that you can't relate much with what is going on in this time again. When I spoke about the eating disorder, whereby literally someone can be eating and the person doesn't know that they are full already.
Yes, yes.
We've seen situation of maybe working with my organization, the Network of Professional Tutors, of children who could bedwet, literally while they're watching something, just because they don't want to stand up from the front of the screen.
Yes, yes.
They're literally going to urinate on themselves. That's something that cocaine, it's a sedative. So the same way that someone can get high so much that becomes sedatory and then just become immobilized in one simple. You use when you were talking, you use a phrase which you spoke about, digital zombie.
Yes.
What's a zombie? A zombie, from what we watch in movies, is that this is a creature. Let me use the word creature. A creature which is carrying out activities. Maybe I don't want to give us visual imagery of it, but it is carrying out activities. But these activities is not engineered from its own consciousness.
Yes.
So in the same way also, children can carry out some kind of activities which is not engineered from their own human consciousness, but as a result of the derivatives of what they have seen through the screen. So in the same way, they can get sedated and they can get excessively high and over hyperactive.
All right, so this will be the last before we go to the next section. I think I said that before, but then final. All right, so what would be your final take home to people out there? What would be your final advice to parents out there? What would you tell them to do finally from a professional standpoint? All
right. I will start by saying that I acknowledge that parenting is difficult. That's what I will start. I will start by saying I acknowledge that parenting is difficult. I acknowledge that we live in a fast-paced world where you have to juggle between your professional life and between parenthood. I understand the reality of times, and I understand also that sometimes you just want to deal with work while your child or your children are engaged in some kind of activity. But as we've mentioned earlier, that in the long run, we look into the long-term effects. So in order for you to, with the aforementioned things we have mentioned, one of the ways, of the many ways that you can do to be able to curb this and to control this menace or this dilemma is that, number one, create a structure routine. Create a structure routine. There's nothing that can work without being structured. Systems and structures give prediction. You can be able to predict the end of something when you create a routine for it. So you want to raise a holistic child. You want to raise a total child who is socially active, spiritually active, mentally active, emotional active. So create a routine. Try to engage children books, hands-on activities. I'm not saying that you should completely bring a blackout to your house, but for as much as possible, ensure, even to the barest minimum, take away TV from the children's room. By all means, if possible, take away TV from the children's rooms, because it shouldn't be that a child should watch the television. At least that there should be a margin between bedtime and the last memory of the television you had. It should be at least 1 hour. But when you have a close proximity to the television, especially in the children's room, it takes away that opportunity. So in addition to what I've said, please, if possible, take away the television from the children's room. Create a routine and a system, a routine where you can actively be able to dictate the time, what time is for what, and as much as possible, understand that it's okay to be bored.
Okay, so thank you very much. Like, you have really said a whole lot, and personally, I have learned a whole lot. We'll just move to the last segment of the show. It's something I call the rapid fire round.
Okay.
Now, the rapid fire round, I'll ask you questions, and you would have to answer as quick as possible.
All right.
Yes or no, no explanation.
Yes or no.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's get to it.
All right, so which is worse for kids, unlimited YouTube or unlimited candy?
Unlimited candy.
Really? It's crazy where vegetables. Which one would TikTok be? Carrot, pepper, or hot chili?
Pepper.
All right, so true or false? Parents secretly enjoy screen time more than their kids.
Very true.
Should school ban smartphones completely? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Who throws a bigger tantrum when devices are taken away, kids or parents?
Kids.
Really, kids. Or would you rather babysit 5 toddlers with tablets or 2 teenagers without Wi-Fi?
Teenagers.
Does too much screen time affect the brain development?
Yes.
Which is more addictive, Instagram for teens or football for dads?
Instagram for teens.
Okay, one app you wish never existed for children.
TikTok.
Would you let your 5-year-old own a smartphone? A 5-year-old own a smartphone?
Not at all.
Okay, if kids could vote, would they choose unlimited screen time over their free ice cream?
I think free ice cream. They will choose free ice cream.
So who is harder to control during screen time, toddlers or grandparents on WhatsApp?
Toddlers.
Okay, should family dinner be phone-free, or is that a lost battle?
It should be phone-free.
Okay, what's scarier, a child's first TikTok dance or their first love notes?
TikTok dance.
It's scarier than love notes?
Yes.
Okay, if screens disappear for 1 week, what's the first thing kid would do? Interactive, yeah. What's the first thing kid would do?
If screens should disappear for 1 week?
Yes, what's the first thing kids would do?
Throw tantrums.
Okay, amazing. So here are some, we'll talk about some practical family-friendly tips to manage screen time without drama. We've cleared the use use timers or parental control is something our guest has said. Be a role model. He has said that model. Kids copy what they see. If you are glued to your phone, they'll also be glued to theirs. Now, create tech-free zone. Bedrooms, dining tables, family game nights should be screen-free. And choose quality content. Ensure and encourage educational shows, creative apps, and age-appropriate programs. Now, the major thing is balance is the key. Screen are not evil, I would say, but they should never replace sleep, play, learning, and family bonding. Now, remember, raising kids in the digital age isn't about banning technology. They would use that in school, but it's about teaching them how to use it wisely. And that's a wrap for today's episode on the Smart Family Living. We hope this conversation has helped you to see that screen time debate isn't about fear. It's about balance, it's about wisdom and intentional family living. I would want to say a big thank you to our amazing guests. Like you did justice to this. I was just waiting. We need to just face the dilemma of screen time, and I believe we have done that.
Yes, we
Thank
have.
you very much for doing
Thank
that.
you
We won't
very
have done
much.
that without you. Okay,
Thank
yes,
you.
and also I would want to say thank you to our amazing Smart Online family for staying with us all through. You have made the show worth every second. Now, don't just watch. Be a part of the Smart Family Living community. You like, you share, drop your thoughts in the comment section. And of course, subscribe and follow us on all our social media platforms at Idea TV for more conversations that keep your family safe, smart, thriving in today's world. But until then, I am Miracle Obi reminding you to live smart, love fully, and keep your family strong. Is a bye for now.